Hi y'all. Oh God, child. I don't even know what to say at this point, but apparently there is a viral photo that's being circulated around the internet of Candace Owens, allegedly, I have to say allegedly, but we already know what it is. Allegedly, the transphobic, anti-black heifer. Okay, we'll call her heifer. There's a picture that's circulating about the internet of Miss Thing when she was a child. Now, mind you, she misgenders everyone, allegedly. She has spearheaded this anti-trans movement for years now and has been able to monetize off of demonizing us. She has just been really, really a bad, negative, evil person whose intellect lacks context. She deliberately leaves out the context, and she's very surface level, just like all of them. So now this picture is circulating, and she looks like a little boy. No shade. She looks like a little boy. A little boy. And I don't know. I know that hurt people hurt people. And there's always a reason why someone is racist, why someone is bigoted, why someone is sexist, or misogynistic, or transphobic, homophobic, xenophobic. There's always a root. There's always a reason. And who knows? Maybe for the first 10, 15 years of her life, people thought she was a boy. We see a lot of females that are very masculine looking, very unconventionally beautiful. Oh, no, unconventionally feminine, I guess. Not feminine looking in the face. Like I said, very masculine looking. And they're unattractive and they're always being mistaken for men, i.e. just hilarious. And so being transphobic is maybe a way for them to heal. Take back whatever they felt was taken from them when everyone was being mean to them and bullying them and being, calling them men and saying that they were men. I can't look at that picture of Candace and imagine that people thought that that was a female. I can't imagine someone looking at that picture or seeing that person in person, that child in person, and thinking that was a little girl. I can't imagine that. And so maybe, especially with melanated women, but I can't even just say melanated women because I see a lot of non-melanated women. I see a lot of white tea women, brown and yellow women, all when they were little girls that looked like little boys. I see a lot of them now that look like men. And being transphobic is, I guess, a way for them to heal that trauma of being misgendered and bullied. In some really weird way. It's a way that they're taking back their power. But they're not taking back their power against the people that oppressed them and bullied them and hurt them and harmed them and caused them trauma. They're taking it out on the community that they should be in allyship with. that they should be allies with and to and for. Baby, it's just crazy. We have a whole... Now, here's the thing. No shade. But Cynthia G isn't the most feminine-looking woman either. She gets by because she's light-skinned. Okay? And I don't like the whole colorist thing because it's not something that I think about. I do understand and see how it's harmed people when someone is being colorist and being mean because someone's either too light or too dark. I see hurt on both sides. But, you know, for me, it's just like Cynthia G is not... I don't know whether it's maybe the way she does her makeup or the fact that I know that underneath that turban... Let me shut up. You know what? I'm not going to be mean. I'm going to have a really nice day. And I'm going to be a lady and I'm going to be positive. But, yeah, like all of these girls that are so transphobic and so hateful, that have so much smoke for the trans community, aren't necessarily the most feminine women. You know? I remember a long time ago, there was this guy. He was a bouncer. He looked like he was Asian and black, like Blasian. He was like tall, really handsome, even though I didn't like the way his dick looked. It was so skinny and it was really skinny and it just, I don't like skinny dicks. Anyway, I don't like big dicks and I don't like skinny dicks. I like little, fat, pudgy, chunky dicks that are circumcised. But that's another story. I don't want to have that kind of conversation here. But I forgot his name. But I still have his pictures and stuff and videos that he sent me from like 15 years ago. But I remember one time he and I were having a conversation because he was really, really... Here's how I was. I was busy in these streets, working my 9-to-5 job in corporate America. I would get on the internet, even though back then the internet was very much in its infant stages. It was very primitive at best. You know, there was only like maybe a handful of sites. It might have been MySpace. Then there was Black Planet, Black Voices, Mi Gente, Prove Myself / local hookups. I don't even think there was a POF or anything, or Tagged. It was just a handful of sites outside of, you know, your typical celebrity would have their own website or whatever. And maybe MTV and VH1, they had their own site. But it was very primitive. That was pretty much it. The information highway, the internet was not crowded at all, and it wasn't congested. Okay? It was just a handful. So there were a handful of dating apps or websites that were popping up. So, for me, you know, I had accounts on a few of them, you know, and I met some really cool people. But it wasn't my main source of meeting people because I was meeting people in person, like in the streets, like on my lunch break, or if I was going to after work or before work. There was always some guy trying to give me the number or whatever, trying to talk to me. And some girls, too, some females, especially there were a lot of females, really pretty women that were hitting. So I was so used to getting hit on in the streets, like in person, that those accounts that I had on those dating apps really I didn't take them seriously and didn't put a lot of energy into it. You had to really, really, really impress me. So there was a lot of really handsome guys. I mean, all of them that I would interact with were handsome, really nice looking guys, really pretty guys, nice, really handsome guys, right? But there weren't a lot of people that I met. I think on the internet, I probably met face to face, maybe like on those dating apps. I don't think. Oh, let me stop lying. Okay. There was one site that all the girls used to be on, and I missed that site because it was such a good site. Because it had its own trans section, which all the boys, all of the boys was on the trans side. Okay. But I think I might have met on the internet, and I'm talking about a span of years, maybe less than 17 guys. Okay? Literally, okay, let's just say this. Let's just keep it real. In the last 20 years, I've probably met maybe 15 to 17 guys off the internet. And I think even that might be pushing it. I would say it's more like 11. But anyway, I say all that to say, there was this one guy who was really nice looking, but he was having all the girls, and all the girls was having him. And he was a bouncer, and he was trying to get with me, but he was like Blasian. He looked really Asian, like one of them Asian guys that has maybe like a black father, but looks more Asian than anything. Nice body, really handsome face. I don't want to say where he lives, because I'm sure some of you girls know who I'm talking about. But he and I had a conversation about black women. And he said, he wasn't even just talking about trans women. Okay. He made a comment because he asked me what my nationality was. And I told him all of the things that I'm mixed with. And he was like, that's why you're not 100% black. That's why you look the way you do, because you look like a woman. You're real pretty. And he said, because a lot of black women look like men. They're very masculine looking. This is what he said. Yeah, so he said that shit. And, you know, he kept wanting me, he wanted to take me out on a date. And I think at one point he wanted me to come to one of his clubs that he was a bouncer at. But he wanted to take me out on a date. But once he said that about black women, it turned me off. I just was like, no. I was like, I beg your pardon. I was like, I see a lot of all races of women, with the exception of Asian. I don't see any Asian women at all. I don't see Asian women or Asian men that look like men. Let me shut up. I don't want to say anything that's too problematic. But I see that in almost every race, where I see there are some women in every race, but in every race that looks masculine. That's just, you don't just single black women out. So I had to kind of check him, and then I just curbed him, because I just was like, ooh, like, your ideologies are weird, you know. And I was never one of those girls that, just because you are giving me a compliment, I don't like you disrespecting other girls or trying to put them down, you know, and giving me a compliment. That doesn't make me feel good. I've never been one that needed to have someone else be put down in order to kind of pedestalize me. I don't know. We all have that thing. We all have what makes us special, you know. So he turned me off. But yeah, he said that. And here's the thing. There was a guy. Damn, I want to say his name. I'll just say, I don't want to say his name, because I'm going to give, he used to play college football. I mean, high school football. And he used to be on a site, I don't want to say because y'all going to know. But he was so fucking fine. He was a black guy, pretty lips, beautiful body. He used to play college football, so he had that football player's build, but his face was so pretty that she was like, damn, he is fine. I don't want to say the site, but even though he was on 2 sites that I was on back then, he's disappeared from the internet, so I haven't seen him in years. But really beautiful dude. He invited me to his birthday party one year in 2009 or 2010. One of those, or 2009, 2010, or 2011. Anyway, he and I, we were talking. He was one of those black guys that was only into Latin girls. And in the beginning, but anyway, like, I thought he was I thought, to me back then, I thought he was the finest guy on that site. And he, I think, was under the impression that I was not black. But what he did say to me, I remember, I'll never forget. He and we were talking. And I had just posted these pictures of myself. That, these brand new pictures. Because I was always, back then, even though I didn't put too much energy into it, I always was changing my profile. I was always uploading pictures of myself. Because I was always taking pictures, right? And, he and I had a very interesting conversation about black women. And I'm trying to remember his exact words. Remember him saying that he thought that black women were ugly. Now, mind you, this is a black man. And he didn't know that I was black also. Or, I'm black. I'm going to claim black even though I mix with a lot of stuff. He didn't know that I was. And so I think he might have thought I was a Latina. And he was just like, I think black women are ugly. And he was the second really fine-ass black guy that said that to me. Within like a few weeks. It was the same thing. And so this guy, I was just like, how could you say that? And he just was going into, they don't have their own hair. I'm not dating no bitch with no wigs. Like, this is before the lace front wig explosion happened. This was like, where the girls were still rocking their own hair. The girls really the females and the trans girls, nobody was really rocking wigs like that in public in the daytime. Like, this is just before it became a thing. And he just was running down all these different things and attributes about black women that he thought was manly and ugly. Now, mind you, keep in mind, this is a black man. And so, I just remember, now keep in mind, back then, and even now, I was always an ally to black women because I'm a black woman. But black cis womanhood, I was always standing up for them. This is before they showed their asses. But I was offended, and I used to read these black men that would be reading these black straight biological women. I would read them for filth, okay? But they were all saying the same things to non-black women. So yeah, a lot of these, but it's so weird because I was always bumping into guys that held that position about black women. And they were all black men. And I just remember 15 years ago, it used to fucking anger me so much. And it was weird because they were affirming me and asking me out on dates and wanting to get to know me and, but I just was like, no, like, if you hold this position about black women, like, I don't like that. Like, that's not cool. Again, mind you, this is years before black women became the enemies to trans women. Because they really didn't even know us. They didn't know nothing about us. They were starting to get to know us by way of their gay homeboys, telling them that, this, get on XTube. Because, back then XTube was the thing. Y'all think Pornhub is the thing now. XTube was the girls, everybody was on XTube. And a lot of these gay dudes would show these straight biological women the videos of the trans girls sleeping with the straight men. Now, mind you, this was back in the day where all of the fucking straight men were into the dolls. And they had no problem because they weren't, again, they're not the smartest creatures in the world. But they had no idea that of all the videos, they would do videos with the girls. Now, mind you, these are straight hood dudes that, you know, all kinds of dudes, but mainly straight hood dudes that was in these videos with the trans girls getting it in. They were munching, they were bottoming, they were topping, they were kissing, they were doing everything. And the gay boys, because the trans girls were running their mouth so fucking much and telling the gay boys would go back and tell the straight women, and then it was just a big thing. And here we are. But back then, I used to get angry when anyone would kind of disrespect black women. But again, they were always coming from black men for the most part, saying that black women were ugly. And masculine and ugly and all this other stuff. So, child, I said this video was going to be 5 minutes long. I run my mouth. I would be good. I run my mouth too much, but yeah. You know, I say all that to say, I'm going to end the video here. At the root of transphobia, especially when it's coming from cis women, is their own hurt and pain and insecurities and fears. And I guess to my dolls, I'm not saying that you need to excuse their behavior, because you shouldn't. But I want you to have just understanding as to why they're doing it. It has nothing to do with you. So don't take it personal. And yeah, don't take it personal. It has nothing to do with you. It's their own anger. It's their own shit. It has nothing to do with you. But yeah, Miss Candace, honey, she was a brick. She was hard. She was hard as a motherfucking wooden fucking parquet floors. Okay? She was as hard as a parquet floor, honey. Alright. She was as hard as a building. Okay? She was hard as a cast iron skillet. Okay? Anyway, I love you all. Anyway, y'all have a good night. Mwah.